Valentine's Day.
Oh,
We're recording it, aren't we? That didn't take long, did it? These are wet. Call the meeting to order. Roll call.
Taken.
Okay. Approval for minutes of the January 10th, 2023 meeting.
I'll move that be approved.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passed. Discussions and updates. Consideration to run an RFP for sanitary board attorney for the upcoming 2023-2024 budget.
So I'll take this one. If you're reading your packet, there's a request for proposal to get attorneys that have knowledge of like the MS4 program, have knowledge of sanitary sewer. I think it would be a good idea. I've talked to Kim, I've talked to, when Kitty was in, I've talked to police. Everybody agrees that it'd probably be a good thing. Probably could run it starting in April and then see if we can have it by July 1st, is what I put on this proposal.
Thanks. Is that it, Drew? Okay. Next item, consideration to enter a retainer agreement with Aqua Law, Napoli, and Robbins, Geller Rudman, at no cost in a class action lawsuit against PFAS manufacturers.
Is this the same issue?
Two different issues.
The first one, do you need any action on?
Yeah, I mean, if you want to run this, we'll have to vote. I'll have it posted. We were looking to post it in the Morgantown, Charleston, Wheeling, and Clarksburg newspapers.
We need a motion for you to do the RFPs?
Yeah, this is not binding us to anything. We just see what we come up with, right? Just an RFP.
This is just for you to solicit for RFPs, Drew?
Yeah,
Okay.
to see what kind of price.
We're still on item number 1, Frank.
Okay. I so move.
I'll second.
Motion's been made and seconded to run an RFP for sanitary board attorney for upcoming 2023-2024 year budget.
I have a question.
Question on the motion?
Is this like just for the MS4?
No, this would be just the sanitary board for any kind of question, if we ever more. Like if the EPA shows up, I like to have somebody step higher, we're paying three different lawyers, and we can just pay one firm.
Okay, who will we be paying now?
If whoever signs up. I mean, whoever we pick,
So this is a position we don't have now? Is that what you're saying?
well, I mean, we have sanitary board attorney right now.
Right.
What he's looking for is, I think, is to solicit for bids from someone that may be more familiar with sanitary board. Is that correct, Drew? Sanitary board work and legal options. It's just sitting and listening to the attorneys and their proposals.
Okay, I'm good.
Yes, and the reason why I agreed to it is because we're not committing anything.
Yeah, this is no,
Right.
there's no monetary commitment. This is just an opportunity for you to entertain proposals from attorneys and maybe collect some information basically on their background. Is that correct?
Yes.
Motion's been made and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passed. Next item up for consideration. Consideration to enter a retaining agreement with Aqua Law and the other listed attorneys at no cost in a class action lawsuit against PFAS manufacturers.
So this Aqua Law contacted all the wastewater plants around the state that belong to the NWQA, and they're asking it to join into this class action lawsuit, which will be at no cost to us. The only time it would cost us is if we want, they would take 25%. But other than that, they're trying to get a piece of the pie in with the water and everything else, doing all the PFAS and PFOS manufacturers. So that's like 3M and all that. So they're trying to get, because here soon we're going to have to figure out a way to treat that. So this is no cost to us. Everything would be worth looking into. Because if we win, we get some money we're not counting on.
So we don't have to put anything towards their
We don't have to
lawyers?
put anything towards it. We're already a member
It's
of
not like that
it.
before. Usually we have to put a share of the legal fees in. That's fantastic.
The only thing that we have to do, which we're already going to do, is test for PFAS in our water, which it's in the water. Just how much.
So who's paying Aqua Law's legal fees?
Aqua Law is actually, they're going in with this other group, it's going in this big group. The case is actually gonna be in South Carolina. But we pay, Aqua Law does the MWQA, we pay a fee every year, we're a member of it anyway.
Aqua Law is the attorney for NWQA, and we are a member of the Municipal Water Quality Association. And this is a big deal for a couple or three reasons. Is one, the way the EPA is trying to treat it at this point in time is one issue that NWQA is involved with is that you can't test for what they're wanting you to get to yet. And then the second thing is what they brought up is this is a class action suit where these companies are bringing suit against the manufacturers of the PFAS and PFOS and PFAS. And they're going to try to get remuneration for possible and probable costs that's going to be incurred by sanitary sewer boards such as the one for Clarksburg. And they're doing it on speculation that they're going to win, essentially.
This this could go on for quite a long time before you
Yeah,
find
this
anything.
is-
Yeah, this isn't
this is
anything that's
going on
imminent.
for a couple of years, going on for years.
I need a motion to enter this.
Since there's no monetary requirement for us, I so move that we move into this agreement.
Yeah, I'll second.
We've got a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Third item, consideration to approve request to City Council for $500,000 of ARPA funds to go towards funding of Phase 5 projects or upgrades.
Also move.
Under, second, under questions?
Yes, sir.
Tom, what exactly specifically would this money, if council would approve, what would it go for? Or
It would go for our Phase 5, A of the long-term control plan that we reported to the Sanitary Board previously, that we are preparing,
Thank you, Lou.
to build a project that will separate storm and sanitary from Ohio Avenue north and back this way to where we started. I think that's is that Phase 5A, Dan, or?
That's phase B.
B, sorry, okay. Let you explain where the Phase 5A is.
If I could take
Sure.
a couple of the agenda items, if I could. This one, the Phase 5A long-term control plan update, and the ARPA request that's on there, if that's okay. So we've been talking about this Phase 5 long-term control plan for some time now. We had actually got under contract with you guys a little bit when we started looking at the West Fork to look at this all at the same time. The Phase 5 is doing some more improvements down at the wastewater treatment plant. Anthony, can you pull up that map, kind of show the board where we're talking about?
Yeah.
So we're looking at a few areas. Continuation of the upgrades at the wastewater treatment plant, which include upgrades to the belt press, the roofs on the buildings, some pump work, new boilers, just a myriad of projects. It also includes an area that has the new storm sewer separation from basically McDonald's down towards the Milford area. Is that correct, Anthony?
Yeah,
Okay.
that's
Where it all ponds down there next to Wendy's and stuff like that. That's because it's all going into one single pipe of combined sewer and sanitary. Our goal here is to lay a new storm drain down there to collect all the street inlets and let the sewer still remain as a sewer and tie in and then get all that water out of our sewer system. And it also includes Phase 5A, the interceptor issue down by Milford Street. You can maybe explain what you guys are dealing with there.
the interceptor in particular down below the Milford Street Bridge. We did some investigations and found out that the pipe that is existing is actually laid below health department minimum standards for slope on sanitary sewer pipe. And I know there was an issue down there last year where you guys had some clogging of the pipe and it was discharging out the CSO. The goal here would be to reroute that portion of the interceptor and upsize the pipe. It would still be in the same area, but there's a more direct path where we can get some more slope on the pipe.
Essentially, it's laying some flat, sediments building up from there, builds up, and it's a huge cleaning fee if they can get at it. So we're going to try to lay that. So that's Phase 5A, and then Phase 5B, which would follow on, and we'd probably put the application in about 2 more months. Would be a continuation of the emergency job on Sandy Boulevard all the way up towards what we call the east end towards Oliverio Peppers, a separation of that. And the reason I separated it into 2 projects is Clarksburg now qualifies for $1.5 million in debt forgiveness from DEP. You know, if you remember that, Frank, where they, it's essentially a grant. It's a negative amortization loan and stuff. So I got the idea that, you know, when you guys, when we looked at it, I wanted to split it into 2 and essentially double dip the DEP. I called DEP and told them exactly what we wanted to do and that Clarksburg was matching it. You qualify for $1.5 million in debt forgiveness with a match. So I didn't want to use all our dry powder from the rate increase we just passed on 1 project. So I split it into 2 projects, and that way we should qualify for $1.5 million on each one. And now back to the question of the ARPA money. I also wanted to combine that with the city's ARPA money, the $500,000 request, and ask for $1.85 million in economic enhancement grant funds. It's essentially the state's ARPA money. And the regulation has kind of been, they want to see skin in the game from the municipality or the utility. And they also want to see it not being much more than 20-25% of the project. So by asking for about $1.85 million, this is about a $7.85 million request that Kim and Tom and the folks from Tetrick and Bartlett help us put in. It would be a $500,000 local ARPA, which we're we're asking for, 1.5 million DEP debt forgiveness, 1.85 million in the EEG, and then the balance would be a $4 million clean water SRF loan at the 20-year 3% money. When Tetrick and Bartlett did your application or your rate increase, they included about $7.5 million of debt service for $7.5 million for that. So the Phase 5B would be about $2.83 million in loan and another $1.5 million bite at the apple for DEP. So
And on the 5A, so without the 500,000, then the SRF loan would go to 4.5,
4.5.
which is going to be a substantial amount of interest over the life of the.
It's a
So
lot.
that's something that, I mean, council hopefully would consider is
Right.
saving the interest to the ratepayers.
Yeah.
So.
The reason we talked with Tom quite a bit about this, and the folks down there, I think if you're showing you're putting, you already got a lot of skin in the game in a $4 million loan.
Right.
And you got skin in the game with a 500,000 ARPA. They like to see that the local ARPA is going to it. I think I can't guarantee we're going to get it, but it fits the mold of stuff that I have seen passed. And we went ahead and put it in on February 10th. It doesn't obfuscate, we're just in line, but that money's going quick. And I don't want to wait and wish we had got it in time and stuff. I want to get it in there while there's still, money in the pot so they can consider it. They may come back and say, we'll give you 1.5 or we'll give you $1 million, and then I'll report that
But
back.
if they do, we've got our rates set up that we can deal
Right.
with whatever we need to deal with.
Yeah, what they've done on other projects I've been involved in, one project I asked for 2.3 and they gave me 2.1, and so they had to increase the loan to cover it. That's what they did and stuff. So that is the areas that we would be working on, and that's why we would push for that and stuff. So
It is on the city council agenda for Thursday as well for consideration.
So the board, we ought to go ahead and, I move that we request that 500,000 from the city council from ARPA funds to go towards Phase 5 upgrades.
Motion's been made.
I'll second.
Motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Consideration of sewer adjustment for the town of Anmore.
So there's a copy of it in your guys' packet. The town of Manmore had a water leak in November, and it did not hit the sewer. So they're looking for an adjustment of, $785.67.
Is this the same formula that we used for many, many years?
Yes.
The ones we used?
Everything's the same.
It's based on a formula we've been using for a long time. So based on that, I go ahead and I make a motion that we approve the adjustment for the town of Anmore in the amount of $785.67.
I'll second.
Motion's been made and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passed. LTCP Phase 4 construction and closeout update.
I can take that one.
There you go.
I think we're finally lighted, you can see the light at the end of the tunnel for closeout Phase 4. Tentative final walkthrough date is scheduled for next Thursday, the 23rd. I talked to DEP this afternoon, and I think they can make that date work. I'm pushing for a month or better on getting up here.
probably DEP has to bring a different engineer, so they have to get two engineers for DEP to walk through. They don't allow the guy that was here the whole time to close it out without a stranger from their office coming to look at it. And it's always a struggling scheduling night for those guys.
And then we're still waiting on the non-pop pumps. We were told it should be here in March. That was last word from the DOS group.
Westport Co-op and Arlington Sewer Extension.
Yeah, I'll take that one. So we worked with Kim on, there was we had to fill out on a real estate questionnaire that the city had condemnation, sanitary board had condemnation of ability and all this stuff. So I think Kim worked with the attorneys to get that filled out. We do have to hold a public meeting. We have submitted our application to infrastructure and now to DEP. They have come back. One of the comments on our facility plan is that we have to do a public meeting. So we would propose doing that maybe at the next sanitary board. We usually did them 10 minutes beforehand. And while we're doing it, we might as well do it on phase 5A and phase 5B because we've got it considered. I'll make sure we don't have to have separate advertisements for all of them, but we'll run that through the DEP and stuff. The only other thing on it, now that we have submitted phase 5A, I have an invoice Kim and I put in for a $30,000 grant for project funding assistance through the IJDC, which they granted to us if we had a $30,000 match. Now that we've put in both things, I have an invoice for $60,000 for the planning for both projects, if that's doable. So, okay.
Do you need us to act on that invoice now?
Yeah, I think we usually have on all invoices had a
So
motion.
this $60,000, I move the $60,000 invoice be approved. That is for the planning,
That is for the planning for the West Fork and the phase 5A project.
planning for West Fork and Phase 5A project. I so move.
I'll second.
Motion's been made and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Dan, you already did the long-term,
Yes,
okay, and the ARPA request as well, correct?
yes, sir.
All right, the only thing left on the agenda is Milford area project updates.
Okay, I'll take that one too. So working with Tom, we're looking at two areas, the Milford area. And what's the street, the other street coming down?
Samson's.
Sampson is the street in the Milford area by the Methodist church over there. The line's going right under the apartments there. There's a sinkhole right there. We're going to meet with some contractors tomorrow on the constructability. We have some ideas of it. I brought Ken Moran out of the retirement to look at it, and he pulled me aside today. He was up there. I think he talked to you about it, Tom, did he, at that survey? We're going to ask Tommy Michael and maybe Brian Rigger, a couple contractors, to look at it. Both of those areas are very difficult. They're small areas, very steep construction. The other one is by, what's the street where it's coming off the?
It's below Temple Terrace. All the work is between Temple Terrace and their,
Route 19, Milford. It goes through these two apartments. There's an overland pipe now that keeps coming apart. It's extremely, extremely steep, and it comes to a structure that's not catching the waters right now. And we're trying to come up with a way to get that figured out and stuff. So those two are in design and trying to work through that. So those are the updates. Okay.
Last item was consideration of agreements for Milford area projects.
that was on the last meeting. I'm sorry to have that on there for this agenda. But yeah, that was great for the last meeting.
Well, that's from last week. We didn't act on it.
We did, but he said it's going to be put on here exactly.
He just did a confuser.
So it's, sorry.
Next item is reports. I have nothing. Mark,
I have nothing.
Frank,
Nothing.
Kim, she's out today. Drew,
For the month of January, I turned in the DMR with no violations. Plant treated approximately 301 million gallons of wastewater. The plant also received 253,250 gallons of septic. The plant brought a total of $12,762.40 of revenue from all sources. On February 1st, we finally got to ship out our raw pump for repair. I'm still waiting to hear word back on it. Daniel Perun went to his class 1 in January, took his test and passed. Just last week, we sent Dave Harvey and Stacy Souls to attend his class 3, so we're waiting on the results for the test there. The DEP will be at the plant next week on the 23rd for the lab annual inspection. And we received our new sump pump controls, and Curtis has the first control up and running. And then also back on the class action lawsuit, I received an email just from them from Aqua Law, and I'll make sure I'll forward that to you guys as a summary of what exactly is going to go on.
And then you'll provide us updates.
Yeah,
As per-
I'll email that to you tomorrow, I'll forward it over to you and Mark and Steve, and then I'll provide updates as I hear. And that's all I have.
I don't see John. Mr. Can? Okay. Dan?
I've spoken out today.
Anthony? Okay. Tom?
We talked about all the things I
Ashley? Councilman Hyman?
I just want to reiterate or send my thanks to you guys, Aaron, city manager, and everybody who's involved in getting that request on the agenda. This Thursday, I appreciate it. Wish we could have acted on it sooner, but I think we'll get it passed and make it happen.
Nothing further? Motion for adjournment?
I move.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded. All in favor? Aye. Motion passed. We're adjourned.